just going to show you how I cut my shawl so that it gives the handkerchief hem. So if you get yourself a little blanket, and we're going to pretend that this is the blanket, what you do is you pull a corner down until you get yourself a little triangle, and then you cut off that strip of rectangle, which by the way makes a nice little shawl as well, just a square one, a rectangle shawl, so don't throw that away. So anyway, now we have a relatively decent looking square, and you want to pick one of your corners to be your front corner, and you can mark it with a pin or whatever, it's fine. I'll say this one's going to be my front of the shawl, and these are going to be my shoulders, and this is going to be the back. So in order to get a good cut, you want to fold it and then fold it again, so you have a little triangle. And remember, this is our front. So then we just take this scissors and we cut along this edge to the center. So that's what it looks like. This is where the neck will go. This is the back. These are the shoulders. And this is the front. I recommend starting somewhere back here, either side, when you start your rows going around. Because what this will do, be a chance to practice some right angles before you get to the acute. And then the center, we just go straight across. We fold it, actually we stretch it so that it's straight across, and then we just crochet across it as if it were straight. And I'm going to use Mandala cake. It's a 3-weight, just like the Hobbii that I used in my finished product. But it's almost the same colorway as well. This one is Spirit. So we're just going to start using a 2.5mm hook, because it's small enough to fit through the fabric of this knitted fabric. It's pretty loose, even though it's got all that fuzz. The needle fits through it pretty easily. You have to determine what size needle you can go down to that'll still grab your yarn. So I just did like a slip stitch. You can pull it up a little bit and bring it down to the level of the stitch in the fabric. I'm pretty much basing all of my measurements on this throat of my hook, this little space between the hook and where it tapers up to the shaft. So that's it. That's the amount of space I'm using, down and across. So it's like a little square. And pull it up about the same amount so that when you bring your hook down, you're at the level of where the stitch entered the fabric. And then slide your hook back until you're lined up with the edge of the shaft where the throat starts. And you can start anywhere on the edge. I did not pick the hem out from my blanket, so the hem is still here. So there's still two layers of fabric here. I just didn't think it was worth messing with. I just poke right through both. If you have a really fat fabric, you might want to unpick that hem and lay the blanket out flat, or just cut it off if you just don't have the time, because this is intended to be a time-saving project as well. So then we're at the corner, and all corners are the same. You try to get to the center of your diamond, and if it's a half sized because it's a front flap. You do the same thing. You just make sure you stop at the center, and then this is the step that is the corner stitch. You pull it up high enough to reach the tip of the corner. So you want to give yourself enough room, and then you go back into that corner stitch, the one that's right there. And you see how that's a little bit longer and it goes to the edge. Turn it a little bit, pull it up, and you want it to go back down. This loop that you have on your hook has to be able to go back down and meet. So you can pull it tight a little bit, just a little bit, and then bring it in again, that same spot. So what that does is it lets you pull these two stitches out so that they don't cause the fabric to curl. Go ahead and complete your blanket stitch all around your shawl and pause the video, and I'll meet you back when you're ready to go to the next level. So I've come to the end, and I've met the beginning. Put in the last stitch, and you see this one here that's kind of turned sideways. That's actually the last stitch. Just slip stitch, and I'm going to switch to my other crochet hook. And the reason why I went with a wider hook is because the stitches are wider, and this was only used to be able to poke through the fabric, a little teeny one. So this one is my favorite hook, and I think it's 5.5, but 5.5 millimeters, but you should go ahead and see what works for you. It's going to be a little bit more lacy because this is a 3-weight. I'm just going to do single crochet stitches all the way around. I've worked out previously several times. I've done this. Every third stitch I put 2 in to keep it from puckering. So this is my first stitch. This is my second stitch, and here's the third. And these are the blanket stitches I'm just going directly into at the tops of them. And I'm going to put 2 in there. So it's 1, 2, and then in the third stitch you put 2 in. Now you might work it out. Maybe your stitches are closer together, so you don't have to put 2 in. Maybe you might even have to skip. What happens when this starts to pucker, you'll know it because, or if it ruffles, because you put too many stitches in, too many single crochet stitches into your blanket stitch, your blanket's edge stitch. But if it puckers, it means you haven't put enough in. So just keep an eye out as you're going, and you may have to frog it and then adjust the number of stitches you're putting into the blanket stitch. So here we go. We'll continue on around. We're right on a corner here, and when you get to your corner, I'll be ready for you. I'm going to, you go ahead and pause the video. Hi, I'm back. We're ready to do the corner. As you can see, there's 2 stitches on either side of that corner stitch that we made. Sometimes it's easier to see it in the back. Not always, but sometimes. And I'm sorry, my finger hurts, and I'm not crocheting and holding on to my yarn as well as I could. I just smashed it in the clamp that holds my cell phone. So I'm putting 2 stitches on this side, and you can let it go and see where this leg points. If it's pointing straight out, then we're probably okay for turning the corner there, because we're going to put 2 on this side. Where's that other? Oh, actually, you know what? I think I might put 1 more. I might do 3 here. And I let it go and see where that, so that leg is now kind of lining up with this side, so it's, you know, perpendicular. This one, not so much. You see how it's sticking out? So that's one way to know how many stitches to put in your corner stitches, is to get just get an eyeball view, seeing when the yarn relaxes, when it's starting to turn the corner each leg. Okay, now let me see if I can put 2 on here, because this is a wide stitch as well. I just want it to be a nice relaxed corner. And I have to be careful that I don't put too many in that corner, but I don't want to be stingy. So now you see this leg, see how it's pointing this way now rather than straight up and down. I'm going to go ahead and do my single, and then the 2 here. I'm going to start the singles here. Just do your best. I can't tell you what every, you know, stitch is going to look like when, you know, I don't even know how big your blanket is. So you could have a bunch of different stitches and patterns that you might want to do two stitches in every blanket stitch, or you might want to do 4. You know, you spread it out a little bit more. 1, 2, 3 single stitches, and then in the 4th one do 2. Do what makes this drape well, because you want it to look relaxed, and you don't want it to pucker or ruffle. Good luck. I will see you when we're ready to go to the next level. Welcome back. I'm at the end here of my first single crochet row. That was my last stitch, and this is my first one. I'm just going to slip stitch. Now I'm going to do a stacked double crochet. Stack single crochets up to the level of a double crochet. There we go. I'm going to do another double crochet, and 1 more, and 1 more. Okay, so that makes 4 double crochets in that first stitch. And then we're going to skip 2 and put a single crochet into that 3rd stitch. And then we're going to double crochet 1, 2, and into that 3rd stitch. I'm going to do a total of 8. So that's 8. This is a finished, this is half. Continue to do that all the way around, and I'll meet you back for the corner. I'm back. I'm going to walk through the corner with you. So as you can see, this is, if I did this 1, 2, 3, and I put this into the appropriate stitch according to the count, this would curl. You see how it's curling? You lay this flat, you try to straighten this out, this starts to pucker a little. So what we need to do is we need to add stitches in here, or we can have it anchor on the corner. So it'll go around and then anchor right on this corner. I think that's what I'm going to do. It may make the fan a little short and might be a little bit bulky here because these stitches are being scrunched a little. But I think it's a lot easier than adding a lot of stitches when this spoke is not on the corner. And then we can just operate as normal. 1, 2, 3. Into the third stitch, your first double crochet. And then we will do 8 spokes or times double crochet, 8 double crochet. And so when we're finishing, we want to anchor down that side. We want to make sure we don't miss this stitch right here, because sometimes it can get a little crowded. This is the first one. 1, 2, 3, and the third. Okay, so let's see how this corner looks. See how ruffled it is. It's not too bad. It ruffles a little bit because this is a really compact space for those double crochets, but I think it turns the corner pretty good. Alright, so continue on around and do your corners like this. If I come across another corner that looks different with like maybe a full stitch because it lands on the corner, I'll do that with you. So I'm back. Now I'm going to show you how to do a corner that doesn't have, it didn't, the end point, the valley, these valleys here, didn't end on the point. What we're going to end up having here is a hub, one of these wheel hubs, the fan hubs, land right on the corner. And even if it wasn't exactly where it was going to land, that's where I'm going to put it. But because it is going to have to stretch a little bit further around than just the 8 stitches that we have in our pattern previously, I want it to relax and be flat, so I add 4 more stitches in here into the same hub. It just reminds me of a wheel. So we'll have a total of 12 stitches. Now I've only gone up in increments of 4 because that seems to work really well, and it keeps it even. And let's go ahead and count down. 1, 2, 3. And there it is. It's flat. And here's the other one where the valleys go on the point. And this is where the hub of the wheel goes on the point. Either one is fine. You may have to fudge it a little bit around, skip a stitch add a stitch, just so that you can get these, either one of these outcomes, a valley or a hub. And if you were really pressed for time and this is fine, you know, you like this look, you could stop here. I've made shawls that this is all I put on it, was just a scalloped edge. So now I'm just going to continue on till we get to the end, and then we will level up to the next row. I'll show you how to do that. So I'm back. We're at the end. We're going to do the last half of our first fan or wheel hub. So we just put in 4 double crochets into that spoke to finish it. 3 and 1 more. Okay, now count back from the first one. 1, 2, 3, and here is the 4th one. It's turned a little bit. Okay, so we're done. I'm going to color control this yarn. You go ahead and finish, and when we come back, I will show you how to do the next row. Okay, I'm back. And I'm working on the wrong side of my shawl. I'm going to go into the top of a fan. I'm going to make a slip stitch because I cut my yarn. I'm color controlling. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. I just like to see a contrast between the 2 rows. Let's chain up 3. Wrap our yarn and then go down into the space between these 2. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going into the space between these 4 and these 4. I wanted to show you a cluster with a good contrast. So hopefully this will fit the bill of this this cluster. Now I'm going around behind the first of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets, and I'm just going to yarn over and pull through 2 and leave it on my hook. Leave the second half of that double crochet there. We're just attaching these by starting a double crochet, pulling through 2 and leaving the rest, and then moving on. We go over to the other side and we work our way up. So we go down and then we go back up. Okay, so then we have 4 on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 on the first side, and then we have the bridge, which is that chain. Now we yarn over and we pull through all of those loops, and then we slip stitch and chain 2. We go into the space. So yeah, you can do a single crochet or a slip stitch, whichever you like. Remember, this is crochet your way. Chain 2 and then continue on. I hope this is the best contrast so you can see how it looks. This is from the back, remember, because there's our seam. This is what it looks like in the front. Okay, so now we've come to a corner that has that extra 4 stitches in the middle that all ended on the point. And so there's 12 around, and I've come up this first four stitches and finished this cluster. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a point on this. So how I do that is it's going to be a cluster 4 together. So we go 1, 2, and that'll be the top of the point, and then we will do our front post double crochet. We're going to do 4 together here. And you can count 1, 2, 3, 4 and the chain. Bring it all together, and then 1, 2, 3, and then bring it down to the bottom, where now you have basically a half one of these clusters. This is, 8 on each side, and then you have your 2 chains, the bridges. This one only has 4 and the 2 bridges, so that makes a point. And then you start again on this side. You've done 1, and then 2, 3, or just 2 chains, however you want to think about it. Then you start your next cluster of 8 together. These are the front post double crochet, 4 on one side and 4 on the other. Got a lot of good light today. I brought over another lamp to try to make this as easy to see as possible. I'm always tweaking my camera and lighting setup because I just want the best videos possible that I can make. 1, 2, 3, or just count that as a slip stitch and then plus 2. And we're going to bring it over. Okay. And remember, this is Crochet Your Way today, so do whatever you feel that is comfortable for you. So I promised I would show you an extra corner here for a 12 stitch hub that has the extra 4 in the middle of the 8. And this is the front flap, so it's a very narrow corner. It's half the size of the regular corners. Okay, so I've chained up 2. I'm ready to go into the same stitch space, and I'm just going to put a single crochet. I'm going to chain 2 like I normally would, as if I'm starting over, but this time I'm going to put a cluster of 4 together here and make a point at the top. So here we go. Double crochet, front post, but we're front posting on the back side because there's the seam. I just don't like making back posts. I can do them, but if I can avoid it, I will, and that's why I'm doing this way. So here we have the 4 front post double crochets. We're going to put them all together with that chain 2, slip stitch to hold it, chain 2, and then go down in that same space and do a single crochet. Now I think some people do slip stitches. I think that this just kind of makes a nice flatter edge when you do a single crochet in that top stitch. That's just my opinion. Hopefully you enjoy that. And I'm going to continue crocheting until we get to another corner. I'm back. I wanted to show you, here's one of the front corners, the sharp corners, and it has 2 fans that go into almost the point here. So I'm going to do the the bridge. I'm going to do the 4 double crochet, front post double crochets. Okay, and I'm going to bring those together. All right, and I'm going to link that. Now I'm going to do 4 regular double crochets all in this one loop. It's actually the single crochet anchor from this fan. All right. Now I'm going to do these 4 as front post double crochet to 4 together. Two, 3. And that's how you turn the corner when the 2 fans come to the point. You just add a fan, half a fan in the middle of your valley. That's what it looks like. I just went over the center of the neck. So I just wanted to show you how that is starting to look. It is going to be like a little bit of a stand-up collar. So anyway, that's the center. So I blew right past it, didn't even realize that I had passed the center. So hopefully you will have just as an easy time going past the center, but just keep in mind, the taller this goes, the longer you go on your edge, the higher up this will lay on your neck. So it'll almost be like a warm collar around the back of your neck. So I'm coming up on a corner that had the 12 stitches. So I wanted to show you what it's pretty much the same exact thing. I want you to go into this single crochet when you finish the fan, and then do 12 stitches into the top of this half shell. It's an inverted shell. Okay, I'm coming up on 12 stitches, double crochets in the one slip stitch at the top of this half inverted shell right there. Now I've got 12. I'm going to go into that single crochet. I'll do another single crochet in there, and this is what it looks like. Hi, this is, I'm back. This is the 3rd fan row. We had the regular fans that culminated on the point of this narrow corner. This is one of the front corners that hang down in the shawl. And then the 2nd row of inverted fans filled in, and then as we came across the tip, we had to create a split here and put a spoke of 4 double crochets in a fan from the tip. And what we're going to do is we're going to create 2 more fans that start and then end at this point here between these 2. So I'm going to put my double crochets starting here into the tip of this slip stitch that is the hub of these 4 double crochets together, the inverted fan. So I'm going to put 8 into that slip stitch that holds those inverted double crochets together. Okay, that's 8. And we want to look at these. There's kind of spread them apart a little bit into this shell that we inserted to create that corner. We're going to put them in here between these 2. So we'll go right into that. And it'll be a single crochet. So it's mirroring the first row. Now we're going to do the same thing and go over to this end. This shell will go into the double crochet hub here, 8, and then we will single crochet into this one. So let's find that slip stitch. There it is. Can you see it? These 4 go into this slip stitch right here. So go ahead and put 8 double crochets in a fan. I just want to say that from here on out, this is pretty much the pattern. You can keep going until you feel like you have enough of an edge on your blanket. Trim for your shawl to look however you like it to look. You can stop on the shell edge. You can stop on the inverted shell edge and maybe put a single crochet edging on this and then create a whole nother level of crochet that you wanted to try maybe a different stitch and just keep building out from there. I start thinking. Okay, so now we're here at the anchor for the single crochet in the previous row. We're going to go ahead and anchor down our shell right there. So we will continue on around making shells, and you can decide how you want that to look. I'm back. I wanted to show you I'm putting a edge on the Bavarian stitch. I ended on the flat edge. You could end it on the ruffled edge. So I started it here. I went around the whole shawl, and just did a single crochet into the last row of the Bavarian stitch. I'm using some Caron Simply Soft from my stash. It's funny, I have so many different shades of turquoise and sea green, and just not everything is just slightly a little too green, a little too blue. So this is the best one that I could find that matched both the blanket and the yarn that I was using from Hobbii, the Horizon. And shout out to Ola Joe, because I actually won this this yarn from her giveaway when she had her big subscriber milestone giveaway. So here I am at the end. And I'm just going to continue around with single crochets. And I'm going to put a picot stitch where the last Bavarian row peaks right here. Get it? Picot. So I'm going to show you how I do a picot. So you go into the stitch where the peaks are of the Bavarian stitch. Create a regular single crochet, chain 2, go back down into the legs of that single crochet, and then you slip stitch through the last chain. And then you go into the next space and you continue to do chains. So here are a couple of picots. And that's how I'm going to finish this shawl, this edge, because this is a very busy stitch and a very busy color. I thought that just a simple edge, just mirroring the peaks as best you can. You may want to finish this with a different stitch. I considered the crab stitch, which is a single crochet that goes backwards, but I figured just little peaks. I hope you enjoyed this, and please like, comment, and subscribe. And hopefully I'll do another video very soon. Hi, kitty. How you doing? Kisses. I know. I love you too. What are you doing? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Tickle, 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 tickle.